Hey, Star Wars fans, welcome to our new show, The Mandalorian After Party. Obviously, a new show because The Mandalorian just came out, and we really wanted to have a show specific to talking about everything there is to talk about, involving every episode that comes out with The Mandalorian. I've enjoyed it thoroughly, so there's a lot to talk about. Want to just kind of get some more in-depth ideas and things coming from each show. This one obviously is going to be combining episodes 1 and 2 since they came out in the same week together, but going forward it should be probably each episode.
Should be more of an episode. Just kind of a recap, we're enjoying The Mandalorian so far. Hopefully you guys are too. Just talking about our thoughts on it and just some of the material surrounding The Mandalorian.
Absolutely. As always, I'm Cody Dastrup. With me is Logan Schultz. We watched both of the episodes together, and we've been able to talk a lot, so we're excited to hear some of your guys' thoughts. Let's
We'll just jump right in then.
Let's party.
Okay, so just kind of first thought, just overall quick impression for you for The Mandalorian. Just if you were to sum up the series so far in a whole, just your thoughts.
When Jon Favreau said that it was going to be like a very nostalgic kind of thing for fans of the original trilogy, I think that that's been very evident in the first 2 episodes.
I think so too. I've been holding on to that just kind of as like a judgment for The Mandalorian, because if that was his goal, I do think he's nailed it so far.
Yeah, so nostalgic is what I go with, because all the references and stuff that we'll talk about, it's like, holy cow, this feels like coming home, right?
Yeah, it totally does, and that's not really a dig against any other Star Wars per se, just this seems, it's the first time I feel like we've been able to continue the original trilogy, really.
Yeah,
like moving forward, the prequels were something different, had a different feel, felt still Star Wars, but this is like, it's only 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and it still feels so OT, like even like it has like a little like graininess to some of the shots, kind of like the older film stuff does.
That's fair.
Just overall, like you said, it's kind of very nostalgic.
Been fun for sure.
Way too short.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. I can't even tell you how disappointed I was when I saw episode 2 only coming in at 32 minutes. Like
that's
you pointed
not
out,
the minute recap.
Right, exactly. So it's really shorter, but they have done a lot with the time that they've done.
True.
And let me ask you this, because I saw someone commenting about this. Do you think they're all going to be about this time, or do you think, because someone was like, well, maybe episode 1 and 2 will be a little shorter because they're more intros, and then going forward we'll get hour episodes, or do you think they're all going to be about 30?
I don't think we're going to hit an hour episode, except for maybe like a finale
that's
episode.
Fair.
But yeah, no, that's kind of surprised me, just because like looking at Netflix specials and Amazon Prime specials.
Right.
They've had weird timelines, and it's never been the same. Like I think Daredevil for Netflix was around just over 40 minutes, where
but you're getting no commercials.
No
so that's
commercials,
like
right.
an
so
hour-long TV show.
It was like an hour-long TV show. Yeah. And then, what was it? I think Santa Clarita Diet, really funny show. I think that came in around 35 minutes, basically every single episode.
And that's just odd, like to me. Like, I don't know. I don't.
I think House of Cards, though, each episode's like an hour, though. So it's really just kind of strange, and I don't think we're going to hit too much of the hour-long thing, but I do think just in the first, like, the fact that we've had, 7 minutes difference in the first 2, I don't think Mandalorian is going to stick to a consistent just time
It's going to be what they wanted, what they could tell the story that they're wanting to tell in that episode in.
And I think that's going to be kind of a fun way.
Yeah.
I know someone was talking about this, and it's something I really liked, is that episode 2, for example, didn't really push the story along in your traditional episode sense, right? And generally,
I expected him to be off the planet. He didn't until
most
the end.
episodes, right? There's the intro problem, kind of the figuring out the problem, the resolution problem episode with a little bit of character development in between. But episode 2, I thought this was really cool, is it didn't really feel like it needed to have like the beginning problem. It was kind of figuring some stuff out. There was definitely a problem that they worked on.
Yeah.
But like it kind of seemed like it was just kind of working on understanding the characters more, which is really cool.
Especially our little green friend.
Oh my gosh. He's adorable.
Yep.
So I guess we'll just break them down in order. Episode 1 first. I don't know. It was so cool, actually. Episode 1 was amazing.
Well, and especially the anticipation coming into it. I know, like, both me and you were trying to wait so we could watch it together, and like having to dodge spoilers. And we posted that little funny, Jar Jar avoiding his spoilers, the big Boombas. But it was very true. I was like dodging spoilers left and right, just trying to stay off social media as best as I could.
We just have to be active on our social media for you guys, but
well, and it's like it was just because I was already in bed when I was about to go to bed when it first populated, right? And so I was like, I gotta wait. But the anticipation was there, like a Star Wars movie.
True, that was kind of a fun part.
It felt that way. It felt like, I need to go to the movie theater and wait in line. Like I don't know. It felt everything that I wanted it to feel leading up to it.
Right.
But yeah, as far as the episode itself, let's talk maybe about some of the species we got to see.
Okay. That's a good point.
There was a lot.
There was a lot of
so
species.
many cool callbacks to original species, and just in general, like
adding new species, very interesting.
That too. But have you ever seen like this? Felt like so filled with aliens.
Yeah,
which is so cool.
That's the diversity we want in Star Wars. Is to see that's an intergalactic
everyone's
place.
Been like, come on, show us more aliens. Like that was the coolest part of.
Not everyone's a freaking human out there.
Yeah, exactly, and. Just the diversity of species. It wasn't like there was just a couple. There's tons.
Right. I mean, like, for example, we started off with there was like a humanoid, and there was our Davy Jones friend, and
Davy Jones friend. You guys can play those guys on Battlefront. It was really cool to see that.
That was actually one of the first parts I was kind of a little worried about, was that his species. I was like, oh, he kind of looked a little over CGI'd, but
CGI, yeah.
That definitely didn't feel that for the rest of it.
No.
I was stoked to see at the Kubas.
Yeah.
Alien, which you see first in episode 4, A New Hope, right?
The long
snout dude who's a spy for the Empire.
Yeah.
He ends up finding Han Solo and the droids they're looking for.
At first I was like, is that actually him, or is it just one of his species? I'm probably just guessing it's one of his species, though.
Right. I mean, it is possible, but I don't think...
Maybe he's retired.
Check from a certain point of view, see if that was...
I don't think...
that was before, right?
I don't know if we really know what his... where he's at now. Yeah. I think that's unlikely him, because that'd be a weird retirement job or a little side job that he's doing. But
anyways, Kubaz was a cool alien species. Loved seeing him again. Just like kind of a fun. Oh my gosh, it's that guy. There was a new thing, the Ravanax,
our walrus,
space walrus thing.
That was one of the coolest scenes, I thought, just because it started off really exciting and fun. And one of the things I thought was humorous too is like you got the bluefish dude. I don't even know what that guy's species is. The guy he captured.
True.
But he had little fins on
his little fins, yeah.
But he was like all freaking out about this Ravanac, and Mando's just like nonchalant. Like it doesn't help that you can't see his face, but he seems very just like,
freaking out.
This isn't a big deal. Walks out there, shocks the crap out of him, and like
I know that was super cool to see that. It was even like a callback, honestly, to the holiday special again. With the pike being able to shock things like that.
Oh, yeah, like Boba Fett's original weapon.
So that's kind of fun. Also, the line, what was it? Stay off the ice is like the understatement of the millennial or whatever. That was so funny.
That guy was funny, and I'm kind of
sad we zapped him so quick.
I'm like, he's frozen in carbonite now, and are we going to get any more of him? He was one of the more enjoyable characters just because the dude would not stop talking. And Mando's just like, so like, doesn't talk at all.
Yeah.
Which was one of the weirdest feelings, I think, for me on episode 1, was I expected him to talk more. It is hard you don't get his facial expressions a lot.
I know. And something I really struggled with, I think, in the first episode was just that in this sort of setting, you want to root for the characters, right? You love the characters. Mm-hmm. So how do you just tap it? It's a Mithril. Duh. Sorry.
Mithril, the blue alien dude played by
Horatio Sands, another comedian.
Mithril. Yeah, it's true, huh?
But just like you want to root for the characters, right? Like, he's hilarious. Seeing the blue dude, the Mithril, he's funny. You kind of like him, or we like Nick Nolte's character for sure.
Do you know how to pronounce it?
Kuiil? Something like that? You guys know how to pronounce that name?
Know.
Kuiil. Never say his name.
Like a pronunciation
guide. That's a good point. But like you like him, he's funny, right? Yeah. But it's hard to feel that way from the first episode. with the
Mando.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the dude's not saying anything.
Yeah, you kind of got to peek into his feelings a little bit in the flashback.
Right.
Which was a really cool scene, and maybe a little bit of his feelings on. He just seems like, to me, he just comes off as like this numb kind of guy. Like, I got to be tough because that's what Mandalorians are supposed to be, and I just got to be. So maybe he'll start to come out of that shell. They're going to develop that character, which would be kind of cool.
Maybe with like the Baby Yoda, it feels like it's kind of necessary for him to kind of express emotions and feelings.
That it does seem that way, especially because obviously he's feeling some sort of connection to it in the fact that maybe it's abandoned and he was abandoned, and whatever.
Right, and I thought that was a neat tie-in to the Mandalorian race, right? I mean, in Legends, Jango Fett was an orphan, basically, who was taken in by the Mandalorians.
What do they call them? Foundlings?
Yeah, I don't know if the term foundling is from Legends or if that's new, but just like the idea that he was taken in by the Mandalorian tribe and then obviously trained to be a great Mandalorian bounty hunter warrior. Not currently true in canon, but that was a legend story that they kind of morphed into, it seemed like, Fitz Mando, whose homeworld was obviously attacked during the Clone Wars with battle droids, came in and invading, and it looks like killed his family, and he was taken in. We hear he was a foundling, which I'm going to go with an orphan himself.
Very interesting, too. You pointed that out, and you pointed this out to me. Maybe that's why he seems kind of anti-droids.
Right,
is because there was droids in the background of that invasion, but I cannot pin like what the time frame of that would have been, because it doesn't seem like he would be.
He doesn't seem old enough
that it would have been the Clone Wars, right?
True,
but you never. Well, yeah, it doesn't seem like he'd have been old enough for that.
Doesn't somebody survive from the Clone Wars and try and Rebels? He tries to reactivate the droid.
Yeah, there is some things like that.
Right, that happens in Rebels. So maybe. Something
it's definitely possible they could have been reactivated, or some excess battle droids were.
True. I mean, even in the Rise of Skywalker trailer, we're seeing
droids in the background,
a battle droid in the background. So maybe someone was able to turn some super battle droids to their advantage, because it doesn't. You're right. Clone Wars doesn't really make sense for his age.
Yeah.
Granted, I have no idea how old he is.
Right. That's
Pedro
the point.
Pascal.
You don't really know.
But is he really supposed to be said age? If his helmet never comes off, he could be 70.
Yeah. Probably not. But yeah, and well, because it would be, I mean, I guess, let's say he was 5 or 6 in the flashback, and the Clone Wars was how many years ago?
26?
Is that what it was? Well,
that would be like the very end, right?
It's not bad.
Because, wait.
Well, it would have been at the end that...
It would have been at the end that Mandalore gets attacked, if he is Mandalorian himself.
True.
So what do you guys think? Do you guys think he's actually Mandalorian, like from the planet Mandalore, or do you think he's Mandalorian more by association?
You know what's funny is that there was actually someone commenting that on one of our posts this week, was like, I have a theory that he's actually not a Mandalorian.
Right.
And a lot of people were kind of giving him crap. And I was like, why are you giving him crap? Like, that's actually a fair theory, I think, because you never know. Like, Jango Fett, for what we understand, might not have actually been a Mandalorian.
Jango Fett was never a Mandalorian, at least canon and not.
Yeah, so...
Canon
but he wore the armor, and he probably told people, he told people he's from Concord Dawn, which is a Mandalore system, but we don't know that that's even true.
Not from Mandalore itself.
Yeah, I don't know. So the idea is that
basically what we're getting at is nationality is complicated in Star Wars.
It very much is. And if he's a foundling, you don't know. Mandalorians could have adopted him themselves and raised him as a Mandalore. So he might fill an extra, like, because he made that line that made me think it in episode 2 was when he said something along the lines of, I'm a Mandalorian, weapons are part of my religion. It almost made like him, like he's...
I feel like he's definitely not Mandalorian, as in from Mandalore.
Yeah.
Just like with the foundling sort of feeling. And it seems like he's always
he could have been raised on Mandalore.
He could have been, but I'm going to go with like from...
another planet.
From 5 years old or wherever he gets... he loses his family, that... he was raised as an orphan by the Mandalorians, why he owes so much to them.
Right, and that's possible too. The other option I've thought of is just that, if Mandalore had some sort of war, because they do, they in the trailers we were always hearing the things of should be, what was it in the episode, sorry, he said something along the lines of things need to be restored back to the natural order since the revolution, all this stuff. So it makes you wonder, there could have been a big war on Mandalore, and perhaps his parents were killed and he was just an orphan because of that. So that's the other option, I would think.
Yeah, there's lots of options. That's just my thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so much to talk about. We're just going to try and hit some of our best things so this doesn't take too long. I thought it was really cool to see IG-11. I'm disappointed that it's not IG-88.
Of course.
Personally. Just
But
because
he
it would
was
have been cool to tie in IG-88. However, he does get his head shot and it looks like he's dead. So I guess maybe not killing IG-88 is cool.
But see, and I don't know. It seems like he's going to be such a bigger part. I guess we haven't seen scenes necessarily where he would be, like in trailers.
Never really in the trailer, was he? Just more of like a poster art.
He really might be dead, but I just can't imagine that.
Right, and
he took a pretty big hit from that little freaking machine gun type of thing.
True, yeah,
he survived that. So
yeah, I don't know. The whole headshot thing looked bad.
I agree, it did.
But just with that,
I kind of hope he's alive.
It was cool to see IG-11. I thought he was a fun character. He's voiced by, dude, I cannot say his name. The director of Thor Ragnarok, the upcoming Thor movie starring Natalie Portman.
Really?
He's actually director, I believe, of episode 8 of The Mandalorian.
Oh, really?
Because they've been handing off Mandalorian directors kind of between episodes. So he's kind of fun, and he's been in a few things. But
I didn't realize that.
Which is weird because, like we were talking, he sounds like a droid.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going for. Is he sounds like he doesn't talk like C-3PO. He doesn't talk like the other droids that we've seen, like K-2SO. He's very like robotic. Like, I'm going to kill you now. Like that kind of
right.
I'm going to self-destruct. Like it's like whoa, what the. And he's talking in code too, like where he's like reciting protocols that he has to. It's interesting.
I wonder if part of it is because he's an assassin droid.
Yeah,
that they're wired so differently, whereas a protocol droid might need to show emotion like C-3PO would. And R2, I don't know if he really. I mean, he chirps, right? And he has emotions and characteristics, but maybe his voice is still pretty. Maybe he has very robotic chirps.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has inflection in his chirps.
No, for sure. Either way, cool to see him, even if we only got the one episode.
He was a fun enough character, and I mean, I'm sure some will all buy his action figure or his Funko Pop or whatever.
I think he'll be back. That's just me, though. But I could see, I don't know. Either way, it was surprising and cool that Mando capped him.
Yeah, it was a fun ending, and I just think it's cool to see some like things like that where, I mean, it's not a species, but it was something that lore from previous we had learned about. And just nice to see kind of how everything's intertwined. That's the biggest thing to me about Star Wars is how connected everything always is.
Well, and Dave Filoni, or it was either Dave or John, pretty much made the comparison that it was like they were just playing with their action figures and coming up with cool stories. And it's like, that's what it feels like. Mm-hmm. That's something me and you as kids would have last week.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. No, as kids growing up, we would have done with our action figures.
Right, yeah,
and we would have been like, okay, this guy's cool. He'll be his partner. And
you create stories and stuff. And that was such a cool concept.
But our stories were always nostalgic. Like it was always stuff we had seen in the movies. And so that's
replicating with new twists.
Exactly. And they did a very good job of that. Like this being a new planet, not Tatooine, but kind of still having Jawas and like Tatooine feel was kind of cool. I kind of just wish it was Tatooine, but whatever.
I'm kind of glad it's not just because we need more planets.
Yeah, but
I do hope
how many desert planets do we need?
No more. Gosh, right? Oh, I love the first planet they're on that's currently unnamed, where the Bounty Hunter Guild exists.
Yeah, it is very cool looking. Like
such a cool
black
planet.
Sand.
Yeah. I hope we get to hear more about that planet.
Well, we have pretty good intel that we will.
This is true. But yeah, just for me, one of the coolest things I think the episode has done, or the TV show has done, is Jawas and the Sandcrawler.
That was really cool.
Just being inside the Sandcrawler, I feel like that's something, like if I was in charge of Star Wars, I would do something like that. Like I've always wondered what the Sandcrawler inside looks like, right? Besides the big compartment where you keep R2 and everybody.
Yeah, because we already seen that. But yeah, like, and what was cracking me up was like the one little pilot talking into the horn. Yeah. He's like, and then the other guy's like talking back to him, and I was like, that's hilarious.
It's
like,
so awesome.
And then when Mando's sitting inside of it, he's like super tall.
It was awesome.
Killed me.
And then little baby Yoda floating next to him.
Gosh, she's like, yeah. Were you surprised at how fast the Sandcrawler moved? Because I thought that. I was like, man, I didn't know this thing could get going so fast. It makes sense, but like that thing was hauling.
Right, yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was fun, just kind of how they've added that in.
Well, it basically gave you an old Western style train scene where Mando is holding on to a train, but in a Star Wars feel.
Oh, and I was talking about it with it looked like they redid the Indiana Jones scene from The Last Crusade. He's hanging on a tank, and they literally try and crash him into a wall to get him off the tank in The Last Crusade. So I think that's kind of a funny
cool
tie-in
callback.
too.
I saw someone talking about when the walrus grabs the ship, that it's kind of resembled Jaws. I think it's Jaws 2, where the shark's grabbing onto the helicopter.
Oh,
I was like, so there's been some cool
like kind of
cinematic
iconic
callbacks.
There you go, yeah.
So that could be another one. It's awesome.
All right, got to do this. Baby Yoda. What's Baby Yoda? Do you love Baby Yoda?
I love him with all my heart, Logan.
I love Baby Yoda. Oh my gosh, when he eats the frog thing, I died. That was so funny and so adorable.
I rewound that scene a couple times just because the frog part's hilarious, but when he's trying to catch the frog, he's just like, it's freaking cute.
It looks like, like, I don't know if anyone else caught frogs or lizards or whatever, just like, or even trying to catch your own puppy, like just running around like when you're a little kid, you just can't get it, you fall over and stuff.
It's freaking adorable. He's the cutest 50-year-old I've ever seen.
I never ate my puppy when I caught it though, so that's different.
That was an unexpected. That little guy ate a long freaking frog.
Yeah, he's not eating for like a year.
That thing was raw too. It was still alive when he ate it.
True.
I mean, I know Yoda ate some weird things on Dagobah.
That's true.
So,
but I thought he cooked it all.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a quick point of information, everyone. This Baby Yoda is claimed to be 50 years, and I do think that is still correct. We're calling it Baby Yoda because Yoda does not have a species.
Right.
He's never had a species, ever in Legends. If you hear otherwise, they're incorrect, and they're quoting something differently. George Lucas has talked about that Yoda's backstory should never be explored. That was one of like his last kind of requirements to Disney. But it
doesn't mean
it
won't happen.
It doesn't mean it won't happen, but it doesn't mean that we won't find out more about Yoda's species in general.
Right. I would be surprised if we don't find out a name of a species.
Right.
At least that's it.
I would actually kind of love it if we never heard a name, but we learned more about them.
Yeah, I could see that.
This is only the third of Yoda species we've ever seen, the second being Yaddle, who was about 483. That's a really precise number to say about, too. About 480 in The Phantom Menace. She was a great master and on the council. So what we do know and have seen even with Baby Yoda is that this species 3 out of 3 times has been super strong in the Force.
So just want to point out that if Yoda and Yaddle were getting together, Yoda would have been with someone half his age, and that's just weird.
That's true, but like, does it kind of work? Like when you're like, I don't know, like when you're like, I don't know. Actually, I feel like in human years, that's never going to sound right. Like 80 and 40 is still creepy.
That is pretty weird.
Then I was going to say 30 and 15, and then I was like, nope, that's statutory.
Oh, goodness
So,
gracious.
Nope, never mind. Always creepy.
Yeah, so maybe in a galaxy far, far away, it's
maybe after 200, everything's
weird.
fine.
Yeah, whatever. But theory-wise, I've seen a lot of people are like, "Oh, this could be Yoda as a baby." Just so you guys understand, it's definitely not, because Yoda only died 5-6 years ago.
Right.
In the timeline, okay? And so when we call it Baby Yoda, we don't mean
it's not actually
Baby Yoda.
It's just there's no other.
It's a Yoda-looking baby.
The baby that whatever the same species as Yoda is way too long of a title.
The artist formerly known as Prince.
The artist formerly known as Yoda, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So, were you? So okay, when we saw him in the first episode, the big reveal,
right?
It was cute. It was freaking out. No way. Like, what the heck? Going into episode 2, though, I didn't think we were going to get to see so much of him. I thought he would pretty much stay in his little egg.
Oh my gosh, the fact that the egg floated everywhere, he jumped out of his egg, tried to whatever he was going to do with his
heal
wound.
him or something?
I have no idea, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. I thought he'd stay put. We wouldn't hardly see much of him except for when Mandalorian's carrying him.
Yeah, and then the fact that the egg just floats with him everywhere is awesome.
Yeah, very cool. He's got obviously some control of it too on his little thing, because he could move it.
Yeah, he could
when
move
the
it at
Trandoshans attacked. Which was also interesting, and maybe we should talk about that in episode 2. When the Trandoshans attacked, it looked like one of them had a bounty wand thing as well.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, I think, kind of the point that they're trying to drive home is with IG-11, this Trandoshan guild, maybe, a little group, that they all they're trying to kill this baby, ? I know IG-11 was specifically sent to kill it, so it seems like this you're the only one on the job thing is definitely not true, and we're going to find out. I'm thinking that's going to come to a climax more in episode 3,
right?
Where he's probably going to get back to said world, and
more bounty hunters
will be there, or he's going to confront the Moff from, I don't know if he's a Moff, the commander, the Imperial dude.
Yeah.
And kind of see what's going on with that.
It makes you wonder if these are all different parties trying to get him. It makes me think that, because the one scientist guy, who we can talk about too, was very like adamant, like he wanted the Baby Yoda thing alive.
Right.
So he's like, that wasn't part of the deal to let him die. We need him alive. But IG-11 was like, no, he's supposed to die.
So that seems like two different objectives.
Two different people hired him. Maybe one of them's like just trying to keep him out of the hands of the Empire. So it's like, hey, kill him.
Right. So do you think maybe it's a... They said they're from the same guild, though.
I know, that's what's weird.
So that's kind of interesting. Do you think maybe there's a chance that
the
two
guild
different
could get
parties
hired probably from different people?
to the same? Yeah,
I don't know.
Do you think Carl Weathers' character
knew about IG-11?
The guild master is maybe playing Mando?
That's possible. He could have a very interesting arc. Let's talk about the scientists, though. Jumping back and forth, back to episode 1, because...
Sorry, guys.
We're all over the place. But wherever the conversation leads us, right? So
his name is Pershing.
Dr. Pershing.
Dr. Pershing.
He has a symbol on his arm, and we posted about this. There's been various opinions. I'm not talking about the patch itself. Okay, the patch itself is shaped
slightly different.
But that doesn't matter. It's
symbol.
Patch. It's just a patch. It doesn't matter what the shape is. The symbol inside of the patch is 98% identical to the symbol that is seen on Kamino that all the clones wear, right?
It's definitely a Kaminoan symbol, and it seems like a clone symbol because we see it in the Attack of the Clones series. You see it on a lot of the people.
It's in the Clone Wars series,
too. It's in the Clone Wars series
cartoon, yeah.
On, I believe, Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Young Boba Fett, we see it. But it's definitely a cloning symbol. You can look it up. That's what it is.
Right.
So what do you think it means for who is Pershing? Who is Dr. Pershing?
So
is
knowing...
he a cloner?
That's what I'm saying. Knowing Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, like, if you think this is an accident, you're crazy. Because it's not. They didn't
Nothing in Star Wars is an accident. It's a naive opinion.
Especially when Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau were very involved with Clone Wars.
Right.
Especially Dave Filoni. So you can't tell me that that's an accident. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's not that close, or you can't get a good enough look. But if you get the right look, you can see. If you get zoomed in.
There's an exact shot of it. So
yeah, exactly. It's there. So if they never bring it up, I'll be surprised. It's possible. They could just have thrown it in there as a fun Easter egg to see if people notice. That's very possible. But like what you're saying, if it is meaning something, the biggest theory I'm seeing and agreeing with is that this guy probably wants to clone the Baby Yoda.
Okay.
Right?
That makes sense.
I mean, just because in Legends it was a thing that they wanted to try and clone Force users.
Right, yep.
They weren't really able to do it usually, right?
It depends.
I guess
depends on what Legend story we're going with. I mean,
right.
Vader was cloned a few times. Luke Skywalker was cloned a few times.
Legends all over the place.
Legends is kind of nuts sometimes with that. But I think it's possible. My theory is we won't ever find out too much about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the Mandalorians are really going to give up the child. So I don't think we're going to figure out really what he wanted to do with it.
That'd be interesting if they just kind of leave you on a hanger wondering why the guy wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
Or wanted him.
What do you think? Do you think Mando gives the baby up?
I don't think so. I know some people have said, well, obviously we know he gets more Beskar
armor at some point.
So that must be how he does it. But I don't think so.
I'm thinking he kills them.
Yeah. Doesn't let anyone near him. Maybe. See, but I just feel like, to me, and I would disagree with you a little bit on this, because I think maybe part of the reason, he's already kind of attached, but I think in his head he's still like 50-50. I think what's going to push him to 100% not giving up Baby Yoda is maybe finding out what they were going to do to him.
Right, that's fair.
I don't know. The other really cool theory, and I'm not saying that they will tie it in like this, or that I am necessarily even sure, I hope that it's a thing, but it's just cool that someone thought of it. If this guy is tied with the Empire, maybe let's say Palpatine's alive and he knows about it.
Oh, gosh.
Perhaps, because of Yoda's species lives freaking a long time.
This is true.
And if Palpatine's wanting to find out more about immortality, how to live longer, it might be a good species to study.
Studying its genes and figure out how to make Palpatine live forever.
Palpatine's wanting to learn how to live longer, and this little baby is how he's going to do it. I don't know if there'll be that direct of a tie-in between the show and the movies, but it's just an interesting thought.
It makes sense. You could see it as like maybe Palpatine had Baby Yoda for a while and then kind of lost it in the dissolvement of the Empire. So he had already studied Baby Yoda. And that's why people from the Empire want him back.
Well, this is what's so interesting to me is that this guy's 50 years old. He was alive during the Clone Wars, during a lot of this stuff, right? So, what?
He should be alive. He's even alive before A Phantom Menace takes place.
Yeah.
Not much, but barely. He's barely before the Phantom Menace.
So how did the Jedi not know about him? Or did they? Or did Yoda know about him? Maybe the Jedi were hiding
something
him.
I've been wondering about. Kind of felt weird when Baby Yoda's 50. Because, I mean, obviously species age differently. But just like the idea that Yoda was 900, right? So he was old, for sure. But, like, if he's 900, but baby Yodas are 50, does that mean that Yoda really wasn't doing anything? You know, like, he was on his own, maybe starting at, like, 200.
Right.
Not that 700 years as a Jedi Master isn't super impressive, but, like, you know.
It does make you wonder how long it took before Yoda was when is he considered a youngling? When did he start training, you know?
Yeah, do you start training at, like, 350? Like,
that'd be funny. Yoda's telling Anakin, 9 years old, you're too old. I was 200 when I started mine. Anakin's like, wait, what? Like,
you got to run that by me again, sir. Yeah, no, I think that's interesting. Just, I would imagine that Baby Yoda wouldn't get trained during the Phantom Menace just because that would make him way too young.
You would, yeah, if he's
barely walking and stuff.
Yeah.
He looks very toddler-esque to me, and they did take the babies young, but, like, you know,
it seems too young.
I thought they're, like, more capable of surviving.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder too, and you pointed this out to me, who was taking care of Baby Yoda while they were guarding him?
True, yeah.
It's like such a weird fortress that they had set up, but like, is someone taking care of him, or is this little egg thing that he's in? I don't know why I keep calling it an egg thing, but a little floating chair. Does it sustain his life somehow inside of it?
Does it shoot little baby frogs into it
for him to eat? Also, do you think that what if one thing I thought of was a Yoda's floating chair that he has?
They just hand him out on birth.
And so I was like, is that like a very like tied to that species? Every baby gets their own little floating thing.
Maybe they can never really move well, and the fact that Yoda's 900 really doesn't matter. He always couldn't move quickly.
Yeah, and so maybe they
I
all
don't
have.
think so, but
they must be smart species to have built these little things for everybody. Then
it's a good point.
I don't know. It doesn't mean they're the exact same, but it would be kind of a cool little tie-in.
Yeah, and I think one of the last things I really want to talk about with Baby Yoda is just the fact he does use the Force fairly powerfully by stopping said rhino animal.
Right.
But the thing that I thought was super cool about it was it exhausts the kid and he passes out. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's a he because Yaddle looked so different.
Yeah.
But he passes out right afterwards and is just passed out for most of the day.
So you don't think he's a Gary Sue?
I don't think so, but just like the idea is, he was able to stop the thing and then passed out. It's like cool showing the strain of the Force on people.
Yeah.
And we've seen it slightly, but kind of nice to know that maybe if you do something super hard, you just pass out. Mm-hmm. It was too much for you, so you need to rest and recuperate.
That's cool. I agree, because that rhino thing was huge.
Yeah.
That wasn't lifting rocks.
But size doesn't matter according to Yoda.
Size matters not. True. Trying to think if there's anything else that were fun. Oh, some of the fan service and things like that was kind of cool. You pointed out the binoculars that the guy who's driving the speeder's looking through are like identical to Luke's from New Hope. So that's cool.
True.
And then we did catch they were playing sabacc in the little
like cantina in the first episode. Just something like I think is like it's been cool, and I feel like fan service can carry such a negative connotation, but fan service isn't bad. Rehashing stories or repeating stuff is boring.
Right.
But fan service in itself, where you show things that people want to see, you show things that people have already seen, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Seeing sabacc is not bad. Seeing Trandoshans again isn't bad. Seeing it IG-11 isn't bad. It's all really cool, and I think that's what makes people excited about Star Wars is seeing things they know.
Well, that's why Mandalorian's resonated so well so far, I think. I mean, obviously the storyline's cool, and there's cool mysteries, and where it's going is awesome.
I think just the fact that you know things about the characters and you like seeing more in the worlds and the characters you're seeing, it makes it so interesting that even if the story was just boring.
That's what I'm saying. Even if at the end it was like, okay, that story wasn't great, I'm still like, yeah, I still got to see some really cool Star Wars stuff.
Right.
Period, end of story.
For sure.
our friend Dominic Pace.
Right.
We did get to see him in episode 1 a little bit in the background.
He's in the back.
Actually, quite a bit.
Yeah. Actually, if you look in the cantina scenes when the Mando and Carl Weathers' characters' names, the guild leader, who's played by Carl Weathers. If you look on almost all those scenes, you're seeing actually our friend Dominic Pace, who plays Gecko the bounty hunter, who's a member of this bounty hunter guild, actually in the background, kind of in between like the two Trandoshans, talking into the side of them, just with some different shots. And we know he's going to be a little bit more in episode 3, so make sure to check him out there. That'll be really cool.
Yeah, he definitely told us that you need to look out for him in episode 3. It's going to get fun. So we have a feeling that Mando's heading back towards the guild. Or
we don't know too much, but we know episode 3 is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So make sure you check it out this Friday. It should be dropping. The last one dropped about 1 a.m. California time.
Yeah.
So Pacific Standard Time, 1 a.m. on Friday morning. So check it out if you can't stay up that late. If you can't, avoid spoilers all day at work.
Mm-hmm. And we'll try and have a breakdown pretty quick, kind of just another Mandalorian after party episode. Was that pretty much everything we wanted to hit?
I think that's it. We'd just like to close with, hey, if you haven't noticed, Jon Favreau and crew have been back on the set of The Mandalorian. Season 2 has started filming. He sent a little picture from it. You should check out his social media for sure. It's really cool. We're excited. It's amazing what $100 million for 8 episodes can do.
I know. What an awesome budget. It's the special effects, everything's been great so far.
So yeah, we're excited to see season 2 coming probably maybe next year or the year after. We'll see. But
a lot of other shows that they'll be squeezing in there, but
well, I guess it's only appropriate to close the Mandalorian after party with We Have Spoken.